Just getting packed up for the morning, ready to head out. Almost there. We got a long climb today. Several miles above 11,000 feet. We're trying to get as close as we can to Mount Whitney so we can take a detour from the PCT and summit that tomorrow. Well, yesterday, I'm pretty sure I said we were climbing to 11,000 feet, and I lied. We went up to about 10.5. The morning came down, then we went up to 10.5 again, and then came down a little bit. So we slept around 9,700 feet last night, so not too high, not enough to create any issue or anything. And right now we're climbing to about 11.5, so we're feeling it. The good thing is, our packs are lighter. We've, we set off with 7.5 days worth of food, and realized pretty quickly that it's possible for us to make it in 5.5 days, but that's pushing it. We've been pushing it hard, and I don't know whether it'll happen. But worst case scenario, up here maybe, tomorrow or something, we'll take a Nero, kind of a near zero day. And we would just hike, a few miles. Possibly. We might possibly do that. Even if we do that, we're talking about 6.5 days. So, we started with 7.5 days worth of food. 2 days gone, so now we're at 5.5 days. But knowing that, we've been eating a lot. So really more like maybe carrying 5 days worth of food right now, and we're just continuing to eat. So by the end of the day today, we should be carrying, just a little bit less than 4 days. And so things are feeling good. Better anyway. And, the feet and the back can really tell that there's some pounds missing. I think I've mentioned before, maybe generally carry 2 to 2.5 pounds of food a day. So, if I'm already down 2.5 days, that's around 7 pounds off, which is really nice. We're getting a little bit closer to some snow. Not sure when we'll make our way to any of it exactly, but it's basically just right across the meadow down there and up the other side. The cool thing is, I said I don't know when we'll get to it, but we might get to some before this. But let's see, tomorrow, if things go well, the plan is to go up Mount Whitney. But then the next day we'll be back on the PCT, and we will go over Forester Pass. And 100% chance there will be snow on the north side of that, so we'll see snow in a couple of days for sure. So that is almost certainly Mount Whitney that we will be climbing here in a couple of days. I'm not 100% sure of this, but I'm fairly sure that's the highest point. That's the highest point we'll do. I don't know what the highest point in the PCT is, but Whitney, it's around 14,500, something like that. I'll be sure to have some stunning views from the top, I'm sure. Haha, our first snow in the Sierra. It's massive. All right, this is what 11,000 feet looks like. Still breathing okay. Having to suck in a little extra air than normal, that's for sure. Well, some of the seasonal streams are starting to dry up a little bit. As you can see, there's hardly any snow left up there. But this is one of the streams. And this was our water source right now. And so, it's barely, if you look, it's barely trickling through in some places. So you know there's a little bit of flow. So I just had to come down and build a couple little dams. And just enough to get the little water bag down in there and fill it up a couple of times. And filter out some water. So it all worked out. But I would guess 2 or 3 days from now, anybody coming through here is going to find nothing. So look at that. Clouds. Wow, well, they might even cover the sun for 5 minutes. Let's hope. So right before getting water from that last water source, we had come across a water source just 3/4 of a mile before that we were maybe going to get water from, but it was literally just mud on the ground. There was no water anywhere. So we already had in our minds, you know, oh, this stuff's drying up. When we get to the next water source, I hope it's good. Then we got there, we found the puddles and just kind of made the assumption that, you know, we were lucky to get that. Well, lesson learned. Well, maybe, because this has happened before, but we left there and walked just not even 1/10 of a mile and saw that a couple of little streams were converging, and there was actually, it wasn't like a raging river or anything, but there was actually a little bit of flow where you could catch water. So if we would have not just had that assumption in our minds and just walked slightly more ahead, we would have found that it was a little easier to gather the water. So anyway, but with all that in our heads, we are, you know, got enough water to plan for our next water source. Now the next source we're hoping to use is 6 miles ahead, but it's also a seasonal stream, and there haven't been any reports in the last, you know, handful of days. So don't know whether it's still running or not. There's one 6.3 miles. Same thing, we don't know. But no matter what, we'll be good, because in 7 miles, we've got a river that we have to ford. And so for sure that thing's going to be running. The latest reports were that, you know, maybe it was up to around your knees. So nothing too major, but should cool us off and waste a little bit of our time. And obviously give us a good water source. So if all else fails, we'll be able to get our water from there. Yeah, the sun has temporarily been obscured by clouds. We'll enjoy that for 5 minutes or so. All right, here's our river we've got to cross. See if we can figure out a way to do it dry. Probably not right there. Well, we got through the that little river crossing, and of course that was easy, but it's kind of felt good, cold water on the feet. And then we had a big old climb like we haven't had before. So we had dropped down to maybe 9,500 feet elevation, and then we came up to close to 10,500 in just like 1.3 miles, and it was much faster. You know, we've obviously climbed that already, but it's been over miles and miles, and so it was pretty gradual. So this one This one was very steep and it kicked us. So anyway, we have found our little water source that we wanted. We didn't want to get water at the river because then we had to carry it up that crazy climb. So anyway, we got our water here and we're gonna go across here and find a place to tent. It's a beautiful morning. We went to sleep last night fast, very fast. I was dead, man, like done. Thinking I don't want to hike this anymore tomorrow. I want to take a day off. I mean, not like anymore, but yeah, just not today. But had a good night's sleep and feel better, ready to roll. Just coming to get some water to start out the morning. We've got about 5 miles to the junction onto Whitney, Mount Whitney. And then we're just going to see how we feel and make a decision about whether we're going to try to climb it today. And we might take a Nero and we might not. So I'll let you know. All right, we just walked out here. We're almost to the entrance or the exit off the PCT to head towards Mount Whitney, and I think that's it right up there. Zoop. And wow, we got this amazing view down here as well, the valley. My gosh, it's crazy out here. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely. We've done 4.5-ish miles. Oh, there's Whitney. And maybe closer to 5 actually. And we're almost to the first exit off the PCT to go to Whitney. And we have made the decision we're gonna not take a Nero today. We're gonna do it. We think we can do it. We know we can do it. So this is our plan. There's a steep 0.7 climb to the second exit off the PCT to Whitney, and we're gonna take that. Otherwise, you know, we have to come back later and come down and climb that tomorrow and whatever. Anyway, we're just gonna do it now once. And then there's about a mile hike into a campground where they have bear box, and that's just a big metal box where you can, you know, hikers, campers can put their stuff so bears can't get to it. So we're going to drop everything heavy that we don't need. We're going to take just what we need. So we haven't even thought it out very well, but you know, we'll take our packs, we'll take water and water bottles, you know, food for the day, probably not dinner. We'll just eat that when we get back. And you know, maybe a couple of kind of emergency things. Might take my sleeping bag since it's so light, and at least, you know, if like all hell broke loose or something, you know, at least you have something warm to stay in. But I may not even do that. There's not much need. And then we'll head off, and it'll be 8 miles up to Whitney, which is right about 14,500 feet. So we're gonna have a lot of climbing. I don't even know what we're at now, but we're low. We're at, you know, I don't know, 10,000 something. And maybe lower than that. Actually, probably lower than that. And then it'll be another 8 miles down. So we'll probably be getting back a little later tonight than usual, but should still have daylight. Oh, and how convenient. There's a bear box, which we've not seen yet on the trail anywhere. But nice to know there's one there. All right, here we go. It is about 9:30, and we've got 8.3 miles. We're gonna add a tiny bit to that to get to that camp and drop our heavy stuff off. But we're going. Mount Whitney, here we come. We're starting somewhere around 10,500 down there, or a little less than that. So anyway, we'll be climbing about 4,000 feet today. Luckily, we won't have quite as much weight on our backs. And the bear box. All right. Unload and then we'll get out of here. I don't know if you guys have been noticing the size of Tiger Lily's backpack as we've been hiking and I'm videoing, but there's nothing in it. There's like a little bit of food and I don't even know, virtually nothing. And mine's the same way. You just can't see it. It's back here somewhere. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, we can like hop, skip, and jump. So we're gonna run up the trail. We're gonna be at the top of Whitney in 45 minutes. Just kidding, it'll probably be more like 5 hours. Here we go. Woohoo! Okay, we're just leaving from where we dropped all our gear. Starting out. It is 10:30 a.m. We're at 10,642 feet. Wow. All right, we're up to 11,000 feet, and this is Timberline Lake. Beautiful mountain lake, huh? Wow again. All I can say is wow. This is Guitar Lake. And that's where we're going to get our water. Actually, we're going to that, which I think is what feeds the lake. All right, this is 11,000 feet. Going up there. If you look very closely, you can see people going up, people coming down. Have to look close. Getting closer. This is about 11,000 feet. Wait, is this 12,000 feet? I already lost track. I think this is 12,000 feet. Yep, that was 12,000 feet. And we finally get a little snow. Man, I'm feeling it now too. Whew. Only 2,500 feet to go. There's a bunch of guys up at about a little less than 13,000 feet doing maintenance work on the trail. I imagine it's just the kind of thing Danica would be doing. Look at all this. Some maintenance guys down there. Look at that. That'd be fun to sled down. This is the trail I'm walking on right now. And we're getting there. This is a super cool part of the trail. another lake. I don't know how many of those I've seen today. 2 miles to go. I'm approaching 14,000. I'm really having a harder time breathing. And just barely getting dizzy. Not like, anything much, but I can just tell. So I'm definitely going to slow down now and just take little steps till my body acclimates a little bit. Maybe get going again. This has been kind of cool because, as I said, Mount Whitney is not part of the PCT. So any of the PCT hikers that are doing it are getting off trail and they're going all the way up and all the way down, and it takes a long time. And so anyway, there are several people, I still can't talk, who were in front of us who, would have probably just stayed in front of us forever, but we're seeing them coming back down the mountain. And so getting to say hi and reminisce real quickly again. Anyway, okay, I gotta go so I can breathe. Well, it's gotten substantially colder and there's some pretty dark clouds going on too, which is stressing me out. Freaked me out because I thought I heard thunder, but there's some jets, they gotta be like Air Force jets or whatever, going by, rumbling everything. So every once in a while I hear them and think it's thunder. But anyway, the breeze has picked up just a little and it's cool, so I just get up here and take a couple pictures or something and head down. Hope it doesn't rain. Just a little over 13,000 feet. Absolutely amazing. All of this. Okay, little dinky hail are falling. That's not good since I'm supposed to be down there. Well, I'm gonna sit here for a minute and see what happens. I might turn around and just start hauling down. Well, the clouds are blown away and the sun's out, so that's good. Hopefully they just keep moving the same way. I feel like I have to be getting close. But every time I turn, there's just another way to go up. I'm almost there, and I don't want to stop because of the weather. But man, I had to show that. That was cool. Look at that. Okay, I'll take better pictures up on top. I'm about 14,000 feet, and it's man, I'm tired. I'm getting close though. It's just right up there, right up on that thing, right up there. I don't think you can see it anyway. There's a lot of dark clouds, but they're way far that way, so I'm not gonna worry about it. It's pretty good above me. It's just some white, puffy, little fluffy things. So look at that. Well, dang it. I got a tough decision to make. I think I might turn around. It's starting to sprinkle a little. I'm way higher than I should be. The dark clouds are really moving in. And so that's it right there. I just probably have maybe another half mile out of, the 9 miles to start with, but I got to get down. If it starts raining, I'm going to be really, really cold for 8 miles. So, darn it. Well, gorgeous views anyway. Well, we're running down the mountain and it's hailing again. But it's just rain and small hail. There hasn't been any thunder or lightning anywhere. Oh, we just need to get out of the moisture. Get down where it's a little warmer before we get very wet. All right, we're down off the mountain pretty much now. And it sprinkled a little off and on. Nothing too much, I mean, chances are we could have continued on and summited, but we already were in a place where we really shouldn't have been. And so we're down, the rain's all stopped, and we're just making our way back to camp now. Be a little while, hour or more. So, and even though we came down from there, I mean, we were never really in horrible danger or anything. I mean, the thunder that we heard was far, far off. Clouds were never really moving towards us, so lightning wasn't really an issue. Really, the biggest issue was just getting wet without good rain gear and getting hypothermic. But we made it down from the mountain in over an hour and a half, and we both had, even though we didn't have good rain gear with us, we had both had fleeces that would have insulated and kept us warm enough just to work our way down. We would have been miserable, but it would have been okay. So anyway, it's still a good decision not to put ourselves in a worse predicament. Plus, the higher you are, clouds do start moving in. Well, it's that much harder to get down and get away from that. So, okay, my arm is way too tired to hold this anymore. Well, back there where I said we had only a mile or two, I was definitely not remembering correctly. And we've been walking for a long time. We've probably done 3 or 4 miles. And now I think we're probably a couple miles from camp. I don't know, anyway. So it has continued, started to really rain a little and hail a little bit more. Actually, just as I say that, the sun just opened up right here. But it's still raining somehow, sunny and raining. But anyway, so it's making us even more glad we got off the mountain when we did, because it's kicking up again, and really the clouds have spread all over, and we are imagining that we will probably get in our tent and sleep through a storm tonight of some kind, or at least some rain. So but we're doing well. Well, I made it back from our attempt on Mount Whitney and found a nice little tent site. Got some water, ate dinner, feeling a little better, but I'm gonna go to sleep and crash out. And as you might be able to see, the sky is nearly perfectly clear. So I didn't get much right with the weather today. When I said that the clouds weren't gonna move in, they moved in. And when I said didn't look like they were rain, then all of a sudden it rained and hailed. And then when I said I don't know, everything was wrong, and then I think at the end I said, we're probably gonna have storms tonight, and skies are clear. So one thing's for sure, I shouldn't be a weather predictor. Anyway, getting ready to hit the sack. A new day tomorrow.